Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined tonight by Michael Bullock. We are awaiting the presence of good old MF Michael Fletcher. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we will have him tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But for right now, let's dive right into our docket this evening. Julian Edelman calling it a career this past week and doing so with 620 catches, 6,822 yards receiving, 36 receiving touchdowns, 2,612 return yards, and 4 return touchdowns to go with 3 Super Bowl rings, MVP of Super Bowl 53, which I called, New England Patriots 2010s All Decade Team, and a second team All MAC in 2006 in his college days at Kent State. But nonetheless, I don't know if I can do this justice. I'm gonna bring in someone who I know can do this justice. Our New England Patriots super fan, Michael Bullock. We're gonna do this a little different. I'm gonna bring Bullock in here right now. Michael Bullock, there is no secret here. Well, it's well documented. You are a diehard New England Patriot fan through and through. And Julian Edelman, what did he mean to you as a Patriot fan?
He meant a lot to this team. I mean you could say Tom Brady was one of the guys that was the reason for the success of this team, but the other guy that was a key part of the team, Julian Edelman. And here's the thing, Florio. I mean, this guy was originally drafted out of Kent State when he was a quarterback. And it's just amazing how, I mean, when the Patriots said they were going to transfer him to from quarterback to slot receiver, and I first was like, you know what? I don't know how this is going to work, but years later, it's proven that it worked, and he's probably one of the best slot receivers in the National Football League. I mean, he's made some big time catches, especially on third down, and I mean, and you could hear him on the sidelines. He was like the energy driver for the team, and of course, what's he been known for, Florio, when it comes to playoff time? What does he always like doing with the?
What did he like doing?
It's something that he does. Well, he looks a little different come playoff time.
Oh, the playoff beards, baby.
Yep, exactly. That's what he's been known for. That even though I'll be quite honest with you, Florio, I'm not a big fan of it, but you know what? If it's going to bring the Patriots success, who the hell's going to argue with them? I certainly as hell ain't going to argue with them, and and none. I mean, he's made some big time plays, but the one that'll stand out to me, Super Bowl 51, the greatest catch in Super Bowl history. I mean, I remember watching it. I'm like, did he really catch it? And he did. And then, of course, the previous Super Bowl they were in, 49. I mean, he made some big plays too. Then, of course, you fast forward. He had that devastating knee injury. Missed all of the 2017 season. Patriots still made the Super Bowl, and he lost, and they lost, obviously. But the Patriots had to wait a little longer to get him back for the 2018 season because he was suspended because of performance-enhancing drugs. But when they got him back, I mean, the the team turned around, and then of course that run he had in the playoffs, that against the LA Chargers, made some big plays in the AFC Championship game, And then, of course, Super Bowl 53, where he was named the Super Bowl MVP. And like you said, Florio, I mean, you said it when we had our Super Bowl party. You called and you said, "I bet you Julian Edelman's going to be the Super Bowl MVP." And lo and behold, you were correct, my friend. And yeah, I mean, it's just sad that that his career had to end like this because of the knee injuries that he suffered. But to me, I'll be like I said, he is the best slot receiver in the NFL. And of course, Florio, there's the ultimate debate that everyone's talking about. Does he belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, you could say the numbers, especially in the playoffs, you couldn't make the case for it, but it's in the regular season, and like you said, for his career, I mean, when it comes to receptions and the yardage, and also no Pro Bowl appearances for the guy. So, but is he going to go into the team's Hall of Fame? Absolutely, he is. Now, and here's another debate. I mean, the Patriots have had some really good slot receivers. Troy Brown, Wes Welker, and obviously Julian Edelman. I'm going to ask you this, Florio, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Out of those three, who do you think is the best slot receiver in Patriots history?
Oh, hands down, Wes Welker.
I'm not surprised at that. I mean, you know what, Florio? You can't go wrong with either one of them. You just
No, not
can't.
at all.
I mean, part of me wants to say Edelman, but you can make the case for all three of them. So to me, I'm basically just going to leave it alone and leave it to the professionals to debate this. I mean, that's just how I feel. I mean, you can't put one over the other. So, yeah, Julian Edelman, an unbelievable career, especially going from quarterback to slot receiver. And yeah, I mean, congratulations on an unbelievable career. Enjoy your retirement. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours, my friend. And all I can say is your Bills defense had a tough time stopping this guy. What impressed you the
And
most
Tom
about?
Brady. And Tom Brady, too.
Yeah,
And yeah, you had no idea how happy I was when he left. But nonetheless, all kidding aside, Julian Edelman, definitely one of the greatest slot receivers in history. Wes Welker, though, there was just something about him. He had the better numbers. But when you make the Hall of Fame, it's not because of the numbers. It's also because of the impact that a player had on the game. And Julian Edelman, no question, had an impact on the game. And there's a part of me that thinks he should get in, because of all those clutch plays that he made and that MVP performance in Super Bowl 53, which I went on the record to predict. And wow. But I can't top what Bullock just said. I mean, Bullock's the diehard Patriot fan. You know me, I'm the Buffalo fan. And
oh, and Florio, there's one more thing I forgot to mention when it comes to his memory.
yes.
Let's go. The divisional playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens. That touchdown pass.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean, MF and I remember that like it was yesterday. And that was one of our fun moments. And yeah, he has quarterback experience as well. I mean, he had some great quarterback plays too, including that divisional game against the Ravens on the road to Super Bowl 49. So absolutely. And Tom Brady had a lot to say about him. I mean, a lot of well wishes, and but Congratulations to Julian Edelman on an outstanding career, and I had something that I wanted to share. All right. The transaction wire released Monday stated that Edelman had his contract terminated by the Patriots, but the roster move is expected to be a technicality as part of his retirement. Edelman, who turns 35 next month, was limited to 6 games last season because of a chronic knee injury. Spent his entire 12-year career with the Patriots and ranked second in NFL history with 118 postseason receptions behind only Jerry Rice's 151. One of Edelman's signature plays was an improbable diving catch in Super Bowl 51, helping the Patriots overcome a 28-3 second-half deficit to rally past the Atlanta Falcons. 2 years later, in a victory over the LA Rams in Super Bowl 53, he was named MVP after totaling 10 catches for 141 yards. And he caps his career in second place on the all-time Patriots chart for reception, 620, behind only Wes Welker, who had 672. Fourth on the team's career receiving yards list with 6,822, behind only Stanley Morgan, who had the most at 10,352. Rob Gronkowski, 7,861, and Welker, 7,459. By having his contract terminated for a failed physical, Edelman now becomes eligible for the injury protection benefit per the CBA, available to all players in this situation. Edelman can collect up to $2 million through this benefit. Okay. Few would have predicted his career trajectory when the Patriots selected Edelman in the 7th round of the 2009 draft, 232nd overall. Edelman was a quarterback at Kent State with his running skills and quick cutting ability, catching Bill Belichick's eye as a possible receiver/punt returner. Edelman was still playing at a high level last season, totaling a career-high 179 yards in a Week 2 loss to the Seattle Seahawks on that classic Sunday night game. But the nagging knee injury ultimately landed him on injured reserve in late October, and while there was hope he might return late in the season, he wasn't healthy enough to be activated. Because of his health, the Patriots went into the 2021 offseason unsure of Edelman's status, which contributed to their agreeing to contracts with receivers Nelson Agholor and Kendrick Bourne on the first day of free agency. Edelman was also entering the final year of his contract. Edelman's clutch postseason play is reflected in his 6 games with at least 100 receiving yards, tied with Michael Irvin for second all-time. Rice is first with 8. Patriots tapped into his old quarterback skills with success, with Edelman going 7 of 8 for 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a perfect 158.3 passer rating, including the playoffs. Against Denver last October, Edelman joined running backs Andy Johnson and Dick Christie as the 3 Patriots non-quarterbacks who have completed 2 passes in a game. Over his career, he totaled 58 rushing attempts for 413 yards, the most rushing attempts and rushing yards by a wide receiver in Patriots history. In the latter stages of his career, he publicly embraced his Jewish identity, taking pride in becoming the first Jewish player to be named the Super Bowl MVP. In July of 2020, he invited receiver Deshaun Jackson to the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. after Jackson's anti-Semitic social media posts. This past March, he wrote an open letter to Miami Heat center Myers Leonard about Leonard's use of an anti-Semitic slur during a video game live stream. And that's all there is to say on that. So congratulations to Julian Edelman on a great career, and you'll certainly be missed in the world of the NFL, and I know Patriot fans will miss you forever. So congratulations on an outstanding career. Well deserved. And will it be next stop Canton? No, only time will tell. So we'll wait and see on that. All right. Moving on, a couple of stories, a couple of big signings coming out this week in the NFL. First up is James Conner. James Conner signs with the Arizona Cardinals. He is now an Arizona Cardinal after a lot of years in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Arizona Cardinals added much-needed depth in the backfield on Tuesday when they agreed to terms on a one-year contract with former Pittsburgh Steelers running back James Conner. He will be paired with Chase Edmonds to form the Cardinals' 2021 backfield. It's expected that they'll share reps and responsibilities and coach Cliff Kingsbury's offense that asks running backs to be both rushers and receivers. Conner will reunite with Cardinals running backs coach James Saxon, who was his position coach in Pittsburgh in 2017 and 18, received a one-year, $1.75 million contract, including a $500,000 signing bonus and a $1.25 million salary, fully guaranteed, a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Conner went to the Pro Bowl in 2018 under Saxon's tutelage after rushing for 973 yards and 12 touchdowns, tied for the third most in the NFL that season, and while catching 55 passes for 497 yards and a touchdown in 13 games. Arizona was in need of another running back after letting Kenyon Drake go in free agency. He signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Great pickup for Arizona, and I think he's going to do some things down there. I mean, him and Edmonds, that's a good 1-2 punch right there. And, we'll have to wait and see. So I like the move for Zona. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, James Conner, now an Arizona Cardinal. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the move here. I mean, this definitely adds to the offense, especially with Kenyon Drake and DeAndre Hopkins there. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how well this offense is going to go now that he's part of the Cardinals. So, yeah, so will it lead to immediate success? Well, only time will tell, but I like this move. So, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say on it. So, Florio, let's move on.
And the other big free agency move this week, Jadeveon Clowney has signed with the Cleveland Browns. Wow. Just need to find the story here. All right. You're with me here? Okay. Jadeveon Clowney, free agent pass rusher Jadeveon Clowney, has signed a one-year deal with the Cleveland Browns. It was announced yesterday. The deal is worth up to $10 million, a source told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Clowney will have an opportunity to thrive playing opposite fellow former number 1 overall pick Myles Garrett. Michael Bullock, business has just picked up in Cleveland.
Yeah, business has definitely picked up in Cleveland after their great run this past season, and what many people thought. I mean, they were close to basically upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. So, yeah, this is going to add to the defense here, and I'll tell you, if Jadeveon Clowney can be that defensive end that he was in Houston, boy, this could be a major steal for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this definitely keeps them in the contender conversation. So, but can they take that next step? We're just gonna have to wait and see. I like this move, so there's really nothing more to add. So, Florio, it is yours.
I love the move here. I mean, let me see. The 28-year-old Clowney visited with the Browns last month, but left Cleveland without a deal. GM Andrew Berry also heavily pursued him last season to pair with Garrett, but the 3-time Pro Bowler reportedly rejected Cleveland's multi-year contract offer and ultimately signed a one-year, $13 million deal with the Tennessee Titans. Clowney struggled in 2020 with Tennessee, finishing with 19 tackles and 0 sacks in 8 games before suffering a season-ending knee injury in November. He had surgery in December and is expected to be at full health for the start of this upcoming season. Over the past 3 seasons, Clowney has ranked 5th in the NFL with a pass rush win rate of 25%, according to ESPN Stats and Information. During that span, Garrett ranks third at 26%. Cleveland already bolstered its pass rush in free agency last month, signing Takk McKinley to a one-year deal. McKinley struggled with injuries last season, but ranked 7th in pass rush win rate in 2018, 1 spot behind Clowney and 4 behind Garrett that season. The number 1 overall selection by the Houston Texans in 2014, Clowney can play any position along the defensive front, which makes him valuable to teams wanting scheme versatility. He is a disruptive player as an interior pass rusher or coming off the edge. Clowney has 255 tackles, 75 for a loss, 86 quarterback hits, and 32 sacks in his 7 seasons. Over his career, he has dealt with various knee injuries in addition to groin, elbow, back, and Lisfranc injuries. The Browns now have 3 of the past 7 number 1 overall draft picks on their roster, including quarterback Baker Mayfield. So, great moves all around. I love it. And that defense definitely gets better. And Cleveland, they're definitely going to be a team to watch for this upcoming season. And, sky's the limit for that team. And they will definitely be in the conversation when it comes to the AFC. Of course, Kansas City is still the favorite, obviously. Buffalo's right there behind them. Of course, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I mean, you still got to figure out Tennessee. You got to figure Miami, Indianapolis. We'll see about New England, depending on the moves they made. But Cleveland is definitely very, very high on my radar when it comes to the AFC for this upcoming season, come September. So great pickup for them. No doubt about that. So with that being said, it's not often that we get into hockey on this show, but in this case, we're going to do that. The NHL trade deadline, and that's what we're going to get into next here. And me being the Barry Melrose of the group here, I'm not gonna get into every team, but I'm only gonna address certain teams here. So the first team I want to start with is the Washington Capitals. I mean, now that the trade deadline is behind us, the rosters are now set for the stretch run of the regular season. We're going to look back at the major trades that took place leading to the deadline and give our thoughts on certain teams' performances. And I got to start with the Washington Capitals. I mean, the big move here was adding Anthony Mantha from the Detroit Red Wings in a deadline blockbuster. Mantha is signed long-term, is an outstanding player, and should be a fantastic fit for the way the Capitals play, as he brings an incredible mix of size, strength, and skill to the roster. In a deadline that was full of minor moves and small-time rentals, the Capitals swung for the fences and added another impact player to their roster. Another team, the Detroit Red Wings. The great thing about the Anthony Mantha trade is that it is the type of hockey trade where fans of both teams should be happy, as they got exactly what the team needed, while the Capitals get another major piece to push for the Stanley Cup. The Red Wings get 4 assets that can quickly aid their rebuild. Richard Panik may not be a great long-term fit, but they have the salary cap space to handle his contract, and he should be a strong trade chip over the next year or two. Jacob Vrana is going to immediately be one of the most skilled players on the roster and could break out offensively with a bigger role. He is due a big raise after the season, but again, the Red Wings can afford it. It will also not be a shock if he, too, becomes a significant trade chip. The first and second round picks also add to Detroit's overflowing cupboard of draft assets. Good deal all around. And the Red Wings also got involved in the David Savard to Tampa Bay trade by becoming the third team to eat some of Savard's salary, essentially buying a draft pick. Good moves. Another standout, the Colorado Avalanche. A decent depth, Carl Soderberg, decent depth addition to a team that is already loaded at forward, while Devin Dubnyk addresses the goaltending depth issue behind Philip Grubauer. Nothing major here, but the Avalanche did not really need anything major. Minor tweaks for a contender that already has the league's best roster. When it comes to losers, the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, they backed themselves into a corner by giving a free agent on a 1-year deal, Taylor Hall, a full no-trade clause, greatly limiting their options, Add in the fact that free agent had an awful season on an awful team, and well, you got an underwhelming team. Anders Bjork and a second-round pick for one of your biggest trade pieces. Really, though, this deadline is an example of just how much the Sabres' entire season failed. They added Hall and Eric Stahl, who was traded ultimately to Montreal, on one-year deals to a team that had little chance of competing in a loaded division. Both players struggled. The team dealt with major injuries, Jack Eichel and Linus Ullmark specifically, and it ended up being the worst team in the league, likely kicking off another rebuild in Buffalo. Just a brutal trade deadline and a brutal season. Michael Bullock, you're going to like what I'm about to say here. Your Boston Bruins are on the winners list. Say what you will about Hall's season. He is still Taylor Hall, and he still has the ability to produce a lot. His underlying numbers in Buffalo were still strong, and he was still getting assists. He simply could not buy a goal. That shooting percentage is going to revert back to something more normal eventually, and now he gets to play on a good team with great players around him. Plus, the Bruins paid nothing to get him. Mike Riley was also a solid addition to the team's defense. So big moment there for Bullock's Bruins. And Taylor Hall, he made an immediate impact tonight against the Islanders. Scored a goal. Next up, another winner. Your reigning and defending Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. For the second year in a row, the Lightning went in for a major addition at the deadline, this time getting defenseman David Savard in a 3-team trade with Columbus and Detroit. They gave up 3 draft picks, including a first-round pick to get him. A year ago, they traded 2 first-round picks for Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow, 2 additions that helped drive them to a Stanley Cup. Will Savard have a similar impact this season? Savard adds even more depth to an already strong defense, and the Lightning were able to get him for a quarter of his remaining salary cap number due to Columbus and Detroit retaining most of his salary. Nice creativity there for the Lightning, who still have a Nikita Kucherov return ahead of them for the playoffs. Another winner, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are still waiting for some major players, Evgeny Malkin, Brandon Tanev, Kasperi Kapanen, to return to the lineup, and the current roster is already playing extremely well. With limited salary cap space and few picks or prospects to trade, there was not a need to do much. They still managed to get Jeff Carter from the Los Angeles Kings to add some forward depth. When everyone is healthy, Carter figures to center the team's third line, which should allow Teddy Bluger and Zach Aston Reese to form a heck of a fourth line. They also resisted the temptation to alter the identity of the team too much by going too overboard on size and toughness, something that seemed to be suggested in the weeks leading to the trade deadline. The Kings are retaining half of Carter's salary cap hit through the end of next season, which makes it even more helpful for the Penguins. Another winner, the New York Islanders. When Anders Lee went down for the season with a leg injury, it was obvious Lou Lamoriello was going to have to do something. He did exactly that in picking up Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac from the New Jersey Devils for the low cost of a first-round pick, a conditional second-round pick, and 2 minor league players. He also managed to get the Devils to retain half of the contracts going back the other way. Palmieri is an outstanding fit for the way the Islanders play, blending a 25-goal offense with very underrated defense. Zajac may not be the player he was at his peak, but he can still add some depth. The Islanders also added Braden Coburn from the Ottawa Senators for a late pick. Another winner, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Don't expect Nick Foligno to be a game changer, but he is a really nice addition to a lineup that is already loaded with difference makers and game changers. The Maple Leafs are all in on this season, and given the playoff format and division they play in, it might be their best shot to make a serious run with this core. Go for it when you can. Another loser is the New Jersey Devils. It's not that they did terrible at the deadline. I just don't know that it was all that great. They did not get a ton in return for Palmieri and Zajac. What will probably be a late first-round pick is the most valuable asset there. And everything else, trading Dmitry Kulikov, adding Jonas Siegenthaler, does not really move the needle much for this team. If you're going to return that much salary, I would at least like to have seen an actual prospect come back to New Jersey instead of 2 minor league fill-up players. Back to the winners, the Columbus Blue Jackets. The season has gone south in a hurry, but they managed to get first-round picks for David Savard and Nick Foligno. That is good long-term value. The trade that will make or break this season, though, is still the earlier move that brought Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic to Columbus for Pierre-Luc Dubois. If the Blue Jackets can even figure out how to use Laine and stop trying to turn him into something he has not, they might have an actual impact player. Maybe that changes with a coaching change after the season. We'll see. A loser, the Florida Panthers. It was a kind of an underwhelming performance at the trade deadline. They moved out Brett Connolly's contract to create a massive amount of salary cap space to use at the deadline, and their additions were Brandon Montour and Sam Bennett. That just seems underwhelming. This might be the best team the Panthers have ever had. They had 2 stars in the prime of their careers on cheap contracts, Alexander Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau, and they had salary cap space to do anything. Their additions were a defenseman that does not defend well and a draft bust that wanted out of Calgary. Another loser, the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal's most significant addition to the roster will probably end up being top prospect Cole Caulfield. As for the actual trade deadline acquisitions, underwhelming. Eric Stahl is the biggest one, but I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank given what we have seen from him so far this season. Mark Bergevin has become one of the most aggressive GMs in the league in terms of making moves, but it really has not done much to dramatically improve the overall state of the team. To our dear friend Matt Ward, I know he's going to like this. Back to my winners, the Chicago Blackhawks. This was never supposed to be a playoff team this season, or really anything even close to it. They turned a couple of low-level free agent signings in Carl Soderberg, Matthias Janmark, and Madison Bowie into 3 draft picks. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and a prospect, Ryder Rolston. That is getting something, or at least a small chance at something for what was basically nothing. Stan Bowman has had a tough few years in Chicago, but he did okay here. Another winner, the LA Kings. They moved some of Carter's contract, though they could get hit with a cap recapture penalty if he retires after this season. Carter says he has no plans to do so and picked up 2 draft picks to add to their stockpile. They also managed to re-sign Alex Iafallo to a pretty fair contract to remain with the team. And there are a few teams that I thought needed more. These were, teams that needed more, short and sweet. The Edmonton Oilers, not getting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl more help will be something they regret. St. Louis Blues, some goaltending depth would have helped. The Winnipeg Jets need more defense. The Nashville Predators need another scorer. And the Anaheim Ducks need to fully commit to the future. So that's all. Those are my notes. Those are my winners and losers from the NHL trade deadline. And Michael Bullock, I'm sure you must be a very happy camper with the shiny new toy your boys just got, Taylor Hall, and oh boy, did he make an impact tonight.
Yeah, he got his first goal as a member of the Boston Bruins, and this is definitely a huge trade here, and definitely is going to help them offensively, and who knows, could maybe another run at a Stanley Cup. Well, only time will tell. But yeah, they're definitely one of the winners from this trade deadline, and I agree with you on all the other things that you just mentioned here. I mean, this is definitely going to be an important final push for the as we get closer and closer to the NHL playoffs. So I like all the moves that were done here, especially for my team, the Bruins. So yeah, let's move on to our next topic for you.
And this is another thing we don't really talk about much, but this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. How about the UMass Minutemen winning the NCAA hockey championship? Wow. Michael Bullock, what do you make of it? How about UMass? UMass winning the Frozen Four and winning their first ever NCAA hockey championship, to me, just as out of nowhere as when our PC Friars did it in 2015. What a story.
Yeah, this is definitely a story here. I mean, nobody expected the UMass Minutemen hockey team to do much in the in their NCAA tournament, but yeah, they definitely turned a lot of heads, and they definitely made a run. Got to the Frozen Four, then got to the national championship game, and they pulled it off. And it's not too often that you hear of the UMass having success, but their hockey team definitely did. And And this reminded me of that PC Fryer team that went on that run in 2015, and that's what we saw right here. So yeah, congratulations to the UMass Minutemen hockey team on their national championship. So there's nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
UMass Amherst hockey controlled play from start to finish and rolled to a 5-0 shutout of St. Cloud State to capture the 2021 Division I men's hockey NCAA championship last Saturday, April 10th, at the PBG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, the first in program history. The Minutemen finished the season with a 25-4 record, the fewest losses for an NCAA champion since Maine's 41-2 season in 1992-93. Junior Bobby Trevino was named the tournament's most outstanding player and to the all-tournament team, joined by sophomore defenseman Zach Jones and Matthew Kessel and goaltender Philip Lindbergh. Freshman Aaron Bollinger opened the scoring for the Minutemen at the 7:26 mark of the first period as an outlet pass from junior Ty Farmer sprung Bollinger and freshman Ryan Sullivan on a 2-0. Sullivan dished to Bollinger, who deposited the puck into an open net for his first collegiate goal. UMass then doubled its advantage, 18:56 into the opening frame. Sophomore Cal Kifiuk wrapped around the back of the Huskies' net, and classmate Reed Lepster was there at the post to deposit the rebound. Senior Philip Lagunov later expanded the lead to a 3-0 with a highlight reel shorthanded goal, 5:10 into the second period, toe dragging around a St. Cloud State defender before skating in on David Horenik alone and netting his fourth of the year. The Minutemen added their second special teams goal of the period on the power play at the 13:45 mark. With traffic in front, senior Jake Gaudette corralled the puck and tapped it to classmate Oliver Chow. Chow passed it out to sophomore Matthew Kessel at the right point for a booming one-timer, his 10th tally of the season. Trevino then capped the scoring in the third period with his 11th of the season, collecting the puck from Lepster and picking a corner on Horenik at the 6-minute mark. The Huskies outshot UMass 25-22, while the Minutemen went 3 for 3 on the penalty kill and 1 for 2 on the power play. Philip Lindbergh totaled 25 saves to collect his fourth career tournament shutout, an NCAA record. Horenik stopped 17 shots for St. Cloud. 10 different Minutemen combined for 11 points in the contest, with Lepster leading the way with a goal and an assist. So, what a story. Congratulations to the UMass Minutemen. First ever national championship. Congratulations to head coach Greg Carvel and all those outstanding young players, especially Bobby Trevino, who was the MVP of the tournament and well deserved. And I love stories like this. I mean, seeing team and win a first ever championship, I mean, that definitely warms me. And to have it happen right here in our own backyard in New England, I mean, just a great story. And I think this is even more out of nowhere than PC. I mean, nobody expected PC to win it all in 2015, but somehow, some way they did. And so did this team. So well done, UMass hockey team. Well done. One last order of business this evening, and that is the NCAA men's and women's Final Four. And I'll start with the women here. The Stanford Cardinal, back on Easter Sunday, April 4th. Stanford winning the national championship, their first since 1992. Another achievement for the great Tara Vanderveer, winning that tournament. But as great as Stanford's title win was, 2 nights before, on Friday, April 2nd, we witnessed, in my opinion, the biggest and greatest upset in the history of the women's tournament, when Arizona upset the odds-on favorites, the UConn Huskies and the great Gino Auriemma. And I was rooting so hard for those gals to win it all, but they came up just a little bit short. 1 point short to Stanford. Stanford won it all, 54-53. I believe it's their second or third championship. Their last came in 1992. And one of the all-time great coaches who is definitely on my Mount Rushmore of women's coaches, Tara Vanderveer, along with Gino Auriemma, along with Pat Summitt. And I just don't know who I have as the fourth, but those are definitely my top three. No question about that. And congratulations to Stanford winning the women's national championship. And what an exciting game it was. I mean, I thought Zona was going to do it, but it wasn't to be. Ariane McDonald had 22 points to lead the way for Zona. But Haley Jones, 17 points and 8 rebounds. Lexi Hull had a double-double, 10 points and 10 rebounds. Cameron Brink, 10.6 rebounds. Ashton Prechtel with 7 points and 8 rebounds. And that's what got it done for the Stanford Cardinal. They were the number 1 overall seed in this tournament, and they went all the way. A final record of 31-2, and another accolade for the great Tara Vanderveer. Well done. And then over on the men's side, talked about it, and at the end of the day, the Final Four, it came down in the Final Four to the number 1 overall seed, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They went up against the UCLA Bruins. The Baylor Bears went up against the Houston Cougars. Baylor defeated Houston 78-59 in the first game on April 3rd. It was Butler who led the way with 17 points for Baylor. And then from there, we witnessed, without question, the greatest NCAA tournament game of all time. UCLA and Gonzaga, a 5-star classic from start to finish, chock full of the absolute finest Shakespearean drama you will ever see. It went to OT. UCLA tied it with 3 seconds to go. And then Jalen Suggs threw up a prayer, and the prayer was answered. And it allowed Gonzaga to win the game 93-90 in overtime, advance to their second championship game. But unfortunately, this second championship game appearance, it went exactly like the first one did. They came up short. The Baylor Bears winning their first ever national championship, 86-70 on April 5th. Jared Butler of Baylor was the most outstanding player, and he led the way with 22 points and 7 assists to lead Coach Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears. Finished the year with a record of 27-2. First championship in school history, and denied Gonzaga their first title in the first Division I men's basketball perfect season since Indiana in 1976. The loss was Gonzaga's first and only of the season, as they ended the year with a 31-1 record, while Baylor improved to 28-2 with the win. After the game, Baylor coach Scott Drew was presented with the national championship trophy, and Bears guard Jared Butler was named the most outstanding player of the tournament. Baylor's win was widely considered an upset, with Gonzaga considered a massive favorite to win the title by ESPN and Yahoo's platforms, as well as myself and Michael Bullock. Gonzaga never led during the game, and their 70 points were the fewest they had scored all season. The Bulldogs entered the championship averaging close to 92 points a game, the best in the nation. In addition, this was also Baylor's first win over Gonzaga in program history. They were 0-5 in previous meetings. Baylor also became the first team from the state of Texas to win the national championship since Texas Western in 1966. Congratulations to Baylor. Well-deserved national championship. And, sky's the limit. So congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal women's team and their great coach, Tara Vanderveer. And also our heartfelt congratulations to the Baylor Bears and Scott Drew and their team to win the first ever men's national championship, to go with, I believe, the 3 that the women have won. So it was just an all-around exciting weekend. And, you know, it was so great to have the tournament back this year after we had to go last year without it because of COVID running wild and putting the kibosh on it. But maybe it wasn't the same as, you know, as we had it before, but it was just so damn exciting to see it all happen again and, you know, getting to witness those great moments. But I'll tell you what, that UCLA Gonzaga game, that game is going to be remembered for many, many years to come. No doubt about it. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, put a bow on this show this evening with your thoughts on the women's and men's Final Four. Stanford winning the women's title, Baylor winning the men's title. But honestly, that UCLA and Gonzaga game, greatest college basketball tournament game I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, that UCLA Gonzaga game, like you said, was definitely one of the greatest that I think anybody has ever seen. I mean, with all the Shakespearean drama that we saw in this game, but yeah, getting back, I mean, when it comes to the women's side of things, I mean, yeah, the Stanford Cardinal, I mean, basically winning the national championship. I mean, taking on an Arizona team that basically was coming off of an upset of one of the favorites to win it all, and that was Gino Auriemma and the UConn Lady Huskies. But they got it done, but unfortunately couldn't get it done when it mattered most in the national championship game because Stanford, they just proved themselves to be too good. So, and then of course on the men's side, I mean, what can you say about Baylor? I mean, a great run for them. I mean, ending Gonzaga's chance at a perfect season and a national championship, and one of the greatest moments in the history of that school, and something that I think that they're going to remember forever. So, but all in all, and I think another thing is that we need to commend the NCAA for how they were able to have this tournament to be able to do it safely with in the all in one location. Of course, the men's tournament being in Indiana and all their locations, and I think the women's was all in the Texas area, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think the NCAA should be commended for what they did here, and hopefully by next year we'll be back to all those alternate locations. So, but all in all, I think this was a really good tournament, and yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Florio, put a bow on it.
Yes, we'll do. And that will indeed put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll be back on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We will review Friday Night SmackDown. 2 matches announced. We're going to have ourselves a SmackDown Tag Team title matchup. The Street Profits will be challenging Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And also, Rey Mysterio is going to go one-on-one with Otis of the Alpha Academy. So we'll look forward to those tomorrow night. We'll review those tomorrow night as part of that. Hopefully, MF will be back with us this evening. Not sure what happened to him tonight, but hopefully he'll be back with us tomorrow. Maybe it was work commitments. Maybe he wasn't feeling well. I'm not sure, but hopefully MF will be back with us tomorrow night. Not the same without him. And then from there, we'll be back on Monday night. You got Ridiculously Raw. Monday Night Raw, as always. And in another very special Tony's Take, I'm going to be previewing the Impact Wrestling Rebellion pay-per-view, which will be going down on Sunday, April 25th. The big headline match, Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, AEW and Impact World titles on the line. And it was just announced earlier this evening that Mauro Ranallo is going to be doing commentary for that match. Mamma mia. Oh, that's going to be fun. I can't wait for that. I'll get into all of that on Monday.
Saucia!
Tope Suicida, Tope Con Hero. I'm sure we'll get all that come Sunday night. April 25th, rather. Can't wait for that. Wednesday, the all-new Wednesday Night Mayhem. We will review NXT and AEW Dynamite, as always. This program next week, not sure what will be on the docket. We'll put our heads together and figure something out for next week, and then SmackDown, obviously. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, D.D. Woodson, and always and forever FKG 401 Derek Forever. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, keep it watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.